Let's bring you the latest on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. U.S. President Joe Biden has joined fellow Western leaders in Brussels on Thursday for 3 summits on Russia's war in Ukraine. The meetings are coming 1 month after the invasion began. NATO, the G7 and the EU are all holding meetings in a display of unity rarely seen by the West. Mr. Biden will take part in all 3 meetings, and it is the first ever visit by a U.S. president to an EU summit in Brussels. And joining me now to discuss the Russian-Ukraine war 1 month after is a security expert, Kash Ononuju. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much for having me.
So it's been 1 month since this invasion by Russia of Ukraine. I mean, a lot has happened. I mean, the humanitarian crisis is enormous, but I want to get your thoughts on what you make of the dynamics of this war so far.
Well, this war was avoidable if Mr. Zelensky knew his history properly, if he also understood what strategically was the reason behind the parliament in Ukraine's making of the law in 2010 to say Ukraine will remain a neutral country, non-aligned militarily. I believe whatever it is, I want to align myself to the position of Mr. Xi Jinping's saying that those who tied the bell to the neck of the tiger are responsible for this war. And for them now, the right thing to do is to untie that bell. Mr. Zelensky's mistakes are not only historical, but I think they were about the most stupid thing any leader had ever done to his people.
I will. Well, that's a very. When we speak here, we try to speak respectfully of people, irrespective of whether we agree with them or not. But I just, when you say that it was a mistake, I don't know if there is any justification for anybody's country to be invaded because they want to be part of an alliance. I don't know if you are trying to justify, or if you think that Russia's invasion of Ukraine is justified just because Ukraine wanted to be a part of NATO. But let me ask you, we've seen thousands of people dead. We've seen cities devastated. We've also seen millions of people now displaced. What do you think would be the path to an end when it comes to this war?
The paths are very clear. Right now, Russia is asking for Ukraine to recognize the 3 regions. What's he doing? He's adding 1 extra region to Luhansk and Donetsk, and then demanding, as was said by Ukraine's parliament in 2010, that Ukraine now becomes a neutral, militarily non-aligned country, just like Austria and Switzerland. I believe these things will come, and then most importantly, he is talking about a demilitarization of Ukraine and a denazification. And when you look at the words about denazification, it follows the historical perspective in regards to the Germanic versus the Slavic struggles that have been going on for 2 centuries. Now, that's why I said this particular war was avoidable. Every leader that had come before Mr. Zelensky knew very well that Russia was going to react. Mr. Zelensky, during his campaign before he became president, also asserted the same thing. Even Mr. Biden said the same thing long before now. And leaders upon leaders upon leaders had talked about allowing the Monroe Doctrine to sustain. I don't know where they got the new security estimates that said Russia would not react. That's why I said this particular crisis is actually avoidable. We didn't need to get into this.
It's now, Mr. Cash Ononoju, I know you said it was avoidable, but it has happened. There is nothing anyone can do about that but to find a path to peace. I will see how the meetings, the NATO, G7 and EU meetings will play out on Friday. Thank you so much for talking to us, security expert Cash Ononoju.
Thank you for having me.